Thank you for staying with us on the AM show. There's a lot that we're going to be digging into this morning as we host two members of parliament. Whatever your thoughts are, you can hit us on social media with the hashtag AM show. But joining the conversation, we have Dr. Stephen AMOAH. He is member of parliament for Nhyia, so he also is a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament as well as the Privileges Committee of Parliament. It's a national discussion we're having with some of our legislators this morning. We're also going to have join us Sam George, a member of parliament for Ningo Prampram. He's a member of the Communications Committee as well as the Public Accounts Committee. He'll be joining us shortly. Well, Doc, a very good morning to you.
Good morning.
It's a great pleasure to have you join the conversation as always. Let me also say a very good morning to the man we call Jata.
It's a big pleasure having you.
How did you get your Jata? Is it?
Oh, that story is a different story. It's a branding story.
It's a branding story.
It was when I was going into the election. When I was going into the election, Honorable E.T. Mentor.
Oh, okay.
I got there and nobody knew who Sam George was or what Sam George even meant. Everybody knew who E.T. was. So there needed to be a brand. He was a brand. I needed to build a brand. So a brand was built around what the competition at the time called my weaknesses.
I see.
Which was he's too aggressive, he's too frontal, he's too energetic. So the lion represents all of that.
Are you a Jata still? Are you still a Jata?
Still very much.
Still very much.
Very much. Lion born.
Okay, so we have doctor and we also have elder
and we
right
have Jata
here. Doctor and elder. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Recently, given that high position in church, Paris Chapel. How did it make you feel?
It's a position I've been running away for almost 3 years. Because I like to do...
You've been running away from it for 3 years?
Yes. I mean, my bishop spoke to me about it 3 years ago. For me, I keep saying that I'm not a religious person, I'm a spiritual person. There's a personal relationship and walk with God. And I do a lot of work in the church, but that's my personal walk. I didn't want the attention of titles, and all of that that this has brought. But for me, it's a personal walk with God and what I continue to. I'm humbled anyway that I get the opportunity to serve God in a different capacity. But it's all about my service to God.
All right, so let's get into the matters we have on the chopping block. But before we do so, gentlemen, I crave your indulgence at this point. You're both lawmakers, and you make the law for the entirety of the country. But in this small space called the studio, I'm going to lay down the law. And the law is simple. Let's try to be decorous in our utterances. Let's, no insulting, no jabs here and there. Let's just make it smooth, free-flowing, and enjoyable for our viewers. I had to mention this because sometimes some things escalate. Let's dig into the issues proper and let's share our thoughts. Deal?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker.
Deal?
Sure.
Thank you very much. So let's start with Fix the Country. Fix the Country. It's taken the nation by storm. Social media has been agog with it. There are so many issues that have come up, from roads to hospitals and everything in between. Let me start with your initial thoughts. Freddie Blay of the NPP says, well, this is an NDC creation. He says it's the NDC that is behind this Fix the Country move. Sam George, what do you think about that?
Let me say a very good morning to yourself, Sticker, and then our viewers. I'll be surprised that Freddie Blay would, the Honorable Freddie Blay will make those comments. I mean, however, people judge others by the standards that they hold themselves to. It's now clear to us that maybe the Ndumso move that we saw under the NDC was NPP sponsored, or the Let My Vote Count move that you saw was NPP sponsored. That's something that we had always held on to and the NPP had denied. But it's clear that based on the modus operandi of the NPP, today Freddie Blay thinks that this is an NDC creation. I can state without equivocation that the NDC has absolutely no hand in the Fix the Country.
But it works for you, doesn't it?
It doesn't work for us.
It feeds into your quote unquote agenda. It works for you.
It doesn't work for us. It works for Ghanaians. This is a Ghanaian thing. Look, when we want to put partisan spins on fixing our country, then it will go nowhere. I've heard the finance minister say that his 5-week stay in the US has opened his eyes to the need for health infrastructure. I'm shocked that he needed to take his near-death experience for him to realize what ordinary Ghanaians go through. Okay? Look, the COVID has exposed our weaknesses as a country. That irrespective of the great work that was done in that sector by the Mahama administration, but for that, we would have been in a worse situation than we are. But even with that, we still are not there yet. People had money and could fly to any part of the world to get medical care, but died because you couldn't board a plane. You get it? So we have real problems. And for me, any Ghanaian who has a problem with the hashtag FixTheCountry must have a citizenship revoked.
Any Ghanaian who has a problem with the hashtag FixTheCountry
must have
his or her citizenship
revoked. You are not fit to be a Ghanaian.
But let me ask you this. If someone has the right, per the Constitution, to follow that hashtag FixTheCountry, shouldn't someone also have the right to say, I don't think the country needs any fixing?
Opinions are like
others have said.
Opinions are like noses. However, what is the objective fact? What is the objective fact? The fact is simple, that our salaries have not been increased commensurately with the way petrol prices have gone up. The facts are clear.
That's not a novel thing, is it?
No.
It's not a new thing, is it?
It is the quantum of increases this year alone. Today is the 6th of May. This year alone, this is the 7th increase in petrol prices. How many times has salaries been increased? So these are real problems. And that's why I'm saying that, look, this must not have a partisan twist. Look, I agree with, I've heard people who have, the conveners, the organizers, those behind the FixTheCountry, they've served notice to the NDC and said, do not seek to get involved in this. And I, as a member of the NDC...
They served notice to you?
I mean, they've said this publicly. Publicly, not reaching to us,
okay.
but I mean, publicly, I've heard them say, NDC, this is not for you. This is about Ghana. And I agree with them. And I think my party must stay out of this. This is a Ghanaian movement. Look, we're sitting on a precipice as a country. We've been sitting on this precipice since 2006. In 2006, there was a national security report under President Kufuor with then Francis Poku, pointing to the fact that Ghana was about to fail as a state because of youth unemployment. That's why President Kufuor started the National Youth Employment Program. During my program at Kofi Annan, the security program, Ghana has all the markings of a failed state. The only reason we haven't failed remains a mystery to even the academics. Because you have a huge unemployment, you have a youth bulge, you have high utility rates, everything that will make a country fail exists. So we are sitting on the precipice. Now, if people are finding a way to ventilate, it's best you let them ventilate in the interest of the state and then see how you work with them to fix those problems. But to shut them up, and that's why I think that when the government apparatus started with the fix yourself, fix your attitude, it backfired big time.
And we'll get into that. We'll get into that.
But for me, I believe, and you see they retrace their steps, because look, you need to listen. I've been in government before. And when the people of this country make a demand, they have every right to make a demand.
Right.
I think, and I honestly believe, that everybody across the political aisle, we must come together and say, look, this is real. The problems that these gentlemen are raising, are they germane?
Right.
Can we address them?
Okay.
But I mean, if you want to just play politics, and that's why I'm saying that this is apolitical, has nothing to do with the NDC, this are Ghanaians' demand, and I think that this should be the way we should go. I pray 2024, just in 1 minute, I pray in 2024 the NDC comes to office. But I would expect to see an active citizenry that will hold us to account, hold us to better. That is what we need from the citizens. It must
the
be
hashtag is regenerated, assuming in 2024 your dreams come true.
It must be constructive
Fix the country. You wouldn't be against it.
That is the reason why we are seeking office. The reason he sought office, he moved from Maslock into Parliament. The reason I moved from the office of the President into Parliament was because we thought we could fix the country. So any politician who is in office today, who has a problem with being told to fix the country, and I could read you, and maybe when I get my second bite, I'll just read a quote for you. Our job is to fix the country as politicians.
All right, your job is to fix the country. Dr. AMOAH, now, this bit about fixing the country, does the country need fixing?
Thank you very much. My regards to our viewers this morning. I think, is there any country in the world which doesn't need fixing?
But I guess some more than others.
Exactly. So every country, even the developed economies, and the statement that fix the country is only confirming or underpinning our responsibility as a government. I don't see anything wrong with it. Fix the country. What's wrong with that? Is it not our responsibility?
But if there's nothing,
the first time?
If there's nothing wrong with it, we've had your colleague member of parliament come through and say that people should fix themselves, for which he's had to apologize. We've had the PRO of the MPA come and say that. Can I come in? I mean,
you can't
so many things have been said.
But it's not the official position of the government. Let's all be honest. Sometimes, let's be honest and stop propaganda, because this rather generates politics.
What is the propaganda in there?
Well, let me also flow small. This is what generates you. At least it's right you ask me. But if it's one-on-one, like you are doing one-on-one with me, how can I flow?
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. What I'm saying is that it is wrong for anybody to have made probably such statement. In the context, probably the person maybe had become misconstrued, whichever way. But let me ask you, is fixing this country not the responsibility of any government? Let's face it. Yes, there is hardship. But I don't think the hardship is worse than under NDC. That day, one day, the way my brother is talking. The hardship is never, but there's hardship. Let's all face facts. Today, if you go to the bank to borrow money, what interest rate is how much? Talking about even price increase in fuel, NDC's tenor from beginning to the end is about 150%. Go and check. I'm not saying it's good, because the way they are talking is making me talk this way. But what I'm saying is that anybody that says fix the country, there's nothing wrong with that. There's hardship. But boss, let's be very honest with ourselves and find out whether this time that we are in is a normal time. Even in Parliament, my brother knows, the Public Financial Administrative Act, 2016, Act 921, Section 18, state emphatically, without any ambiguity, that when there's a situation such as this, health pandemic or endemic, even our fiscal rules are suspended. South Africa today, leadership is big time considering slashing wages of public sector workers. Today, they are predicting their GDP to go down by over 7-something%. Their deficit getting to about 14-something%. These are the predictions. I'm not saying there's no hardship, but the hardship today, the reason is not necessarily government not doing its best. But it's a global thing that we need to accept. When they tell us to fix it, they are not wrong. But don't let us take it as if we are in normal time, things are okay, when we know there has been a country that at a point, productivity came to halt. Government was not even taking the revenues government was supposed to take. Government was spending more than its own projections. You think things can be so easily one day? Let's be honest with each other.
But we had also been told, Doc, we had also been told that we had what it took, that even if the country were in crisis, for about 3 months, we had what it took to ensure that the country would be stable.
But is the country not stable?
That didn't show. I'm talking about stable? When we had to go under lockdown, you know, in terms of resources to ensure that even if we were not producing like expected. You're pointing to production and the viability. And I'm saying that.
When we were on lockdown, was the government not working?
My point is that we faced a lot of problems economically. But if you're saying that...
You and I know we are facing problems because of the COVID-19 economy. I'm not, even without it, there would have been problems. Even in US, UK, even without it, there were problems.
So for you, the point is that there are problems everywhere, so we shouldn't make a meal out of it.
Have I said that? Why are you saying something that I'm even emphasizing that if they make the point is right? These are the things you change it and somebody put on social media.
So make your point.
My point has been made, except that you don't want to accept.
Please do.
What I'm saying is that it is true that there's hardship. Those who are making the statement, they are right. It's our responsibility to fix it, and I agree with them. Okay. But let us be honest with the government and this country and accept the fact that this thing has come up simply because of the COVID-19. It's a fact. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't fix it, and I agree with them. But even when we are talking about COVID-19 today, please, let's pick all the performance parameters that His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo inherited, from primary macro indicators through secondary macro indicators, social intervention policies, and all these, and compare. Let's pick all of them, one after the other. Even infrastructure people are talking about. Let's Nana Addo also finish his 8 years. And let's pick from education, health, water, and everything. The point is that there's huge deception in this country. People are being lied to as if we don't go to church, as if there is no God in Ghana. That we think we can keep on deceiving people and lying all the time.
Who is doing the lying?
Those who are doing it, God will ask them. If I'm doing it, God will ask me. Including myself, MPP, NDC, CPP, media, whoever knows the truth and think can lie to Ghanaian because he thinks probably somebody might be gullible and say all sorts of things. The point is, fix the country. It's not the first time people are saying it. It's our responsibility. It's enshrined in our constitution. Everybody's expecting that we fix the country. We are in government. There's a challenge, which I agree. There are problems, I agree. Those who are saying it, they are right. But let's analyze it in the right context. Let's be very honest. Before the COVID-19 came, what was the situation? Let's be very honest with ourselves. That when there's a disaster, when there are natural issues, when we have systemic issues as an outlier outside the system, what happens to us? And let's display this religious whatever and godliness, not only because we think it's fornication that is sin. People are just unnecessarily trying to get political capital out of it, and they are way into it. My position is that there's nothing wrong. I don't think officially our government has come out against those who are saying fix it. Nanado has not spoken. Vice President has not spoken. Party leadership, unless I don't know, has not spoken. Of course, you're having about 4 or 5 million people supporting MPP. You have people who play diverse roles within our value chain or critical activity path. Some of them have probably explained things in a way that it could be misconstrued or they make mistake, which we all agree. You can't take it as the official position of the government. We are saying that we can fix it. Probably would have been worse. Under the NDC would have been worse.
Let's quickly do this.
There was no COVID. I'm ending with this. There hadn't been COVID. Before they left over power, what was our GDP growth? Before they left power, if you import things into this country, how much were you paying? It was held by about 50%. If you import cars, how much were we paying for electricity? How much were we paying for water? Let's be very honest with ourselves, because MPP, NDC, we are all not perfect, but it is clear that at all times, MPP will do better than them.
Okay, so point well made there. I just have to correct myself, because initially I said the PRO of the MPA. It's actually Ghana Gas who was saying that if you're going shouting on the rooftops, fix the country, fix it, it's akin to drunken behavior. But let's put that aside, because you have made the point clear that it is not official.
That point
is clear.
Very much.
Let me ask you both a very quick question. How are you fixing your constituency in Shiaeso? How are you fixing your constituency?
In Shiaeso,
you say we need fixing.
Yes.
Your constituency. How are you fixing?
Before I came, before they gave me the mandate, my regards to them humbly, I told them what I was going to do. And I am fully on course. First thing, my responsibility is to champion the cause and contribute my quota on the floor in debating public issues, government issues, and private, which, by the grace of God, in Parliament, he's my senior. He knows as a first timer what I'm doing there. He knows, if you be honest. And I know what he's doing. I'm not disgracing my Two, I told them certain, because it's a developing economy, there are certain things I should be able to do for the constituency specifically. And my concentration is basically on Human Development Index. Because MP, you can never have money to do roads. Let's be factual. I said that one, I was going to set up education, a fund called ISAF, Education and Skill Acquisition Fund. And that I have 2 committees, Education Committee, Technical Skill Committee. There is insecurity in the area, too much. I'm being honest with you. In fact, the insecurity... The
entirety of Shiaeso or certain pockets of Shiaeso?
Yeah, within my constituency, because of that, I wouldn't name but big-time insecurity. And I'm being honest with you. Seriously, robbery and stuff like that. I decided to set up security committee that work with the police and others. I've spoken to the police already. There is there's an issue with sanitation. We are also setting up that. We are going to set up youth development. Okay. And now we are coming out with community bylaws. I don't know, because I've met a chief, assemblyman, we all want to have that. One, a child below 18 will never be allowed to do mybet.com. I've finished all the letters I'm sending to the companies.
Wow. You're banning betting within your jurisdiction?
Below 18 years. If the child is below 18. Right. 2,
of course, betting.
Alcoholism.
They should have a
alcoholic beverages and tobacco. If the child is below 18 in Shiaeso, will not allow. We will not accept at all times motorbikes not registered. So we are going to launch this committee. We are setting up central committee where we have big-time lawyers. They are all happy doctors. We want to put them on so that we work collectively. If we have common fund, whether it's 1 CD or 2 CDs, chairpersons of the committees will come together and then we outlay the funds based on the priority areas because we have a lot of issues.
Okay. And
at the same time, you know, by the grace of God, I'll push for government to do 1 or 2 there. But this is what I'm doing. I decided to set up an office called Inshiasu Development Center office that people will bring in problems.
Okay.
Those are now the office is about 90% completion.
Right.
I've taught all the schools, public schools in Inshiasu. This week we are finishing water borehole. No, next week for one of them from our own pocket because government hasn't released anything. I've sorted one of the schools with writing boards. One of the school, KG, was bad. I fixed it. So this is what I'm doing with the people.
Looks like you've been up to quite a lot. Yeah. And
because
I mean, for a first-time MP, that's to your credit. But let me find out from you. Ningo Prampram.
Yes, I will come there, but I'll just take 1 minute of my time to respond to a few things. You see, when we talk about fixing the country, it's not about the macroeconomic or microeconomic indicators. We don't go to the market with that. When Sticker was speaking, he said, "Oh, it can't be worse today than it was." Well, in 2017, January 7, when we handed over power, a bag of cement was 23 Ghana cedis. Today, as we speak,
there's something called inflation, right?
Yes, but inflation of over 100% in the space of 4 years or 5 years is mind-boggling. That the macroeconomic indicators he spoke about won't talk about. And you see, for me, I always don't just look at the price of an item. I look at your spending power. So I take a teacher's salary in 2016 and then say if a teacher at grade 2 was earning 1,200 cedis and a bag of cement was 25 cedis, how many bags of cement could his salary buy? And then you see his spending power. Today, that teacher's salary with all the increments is around 1,500 cedis. But a bag of cement is 50 cedis. How many bags will he buy? You realize that his spending power has actually dropped by about 60%. Okay. That is how you determine whether a person is better off or worse off. How much was an olunka of Gary? How much? Because you see, we're talking about accommodation and all of that. People want to start building their own houses. But if the cost of cement has almost doubled, that's a problem. Now, I said I was going to read a quote. We're in May. Today is 6th of May. 2021. On the 27th of May, just a minute, on the 27th of May 2009, I said to President Mills today, if you say the system is broke, fix it. Excuses can never be a substitute for vision and purposeful action and can never lead to the better Ghana we were promised. You know who said this? Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. He said, if the system is broke, fix it. So if we are telling him today to fix it, and his own appointees are telling us not to fix it, then that's a problem. Now,
but the point has been made that officially, government has not officially come out to say...
that is even a bigger problem.
We are against this.
That's a bigger problem. Fix the Country has been running now for almost 7 days. And our president has not had the purpose of mind to speak to us and tell us, look, this is my plan towards fixing it, or this is what we're doing towards fixing it. The president thinks we're ranting. He's not going to mind us. He's paying us no heed. That in itself is a bigger problem. You understand me? So for me, a government that ought to listen, a government that ought to be responsive, should have responded to us by now. The president is able to, in less than 24 hours, send a condolence message to George Floyd's family and organize a funeral for them here. George Floyd is no Ghanaian.
Okay.
We are Ghanaians. We are complaining and asking our president to take action. He's not minding us.
Right.
Not even a single tweet. And you see, the reason why we are complaining, why Ghanaians are complaining, it has nothing to do with the fact that hardship, and look, I'll be a liar to say hardship started today. Hardship has been in Ghana since Kwame Nkrumah. But when we see our government not putting its money into building any of the 88 hospitals the president promised us, which the ordinary Ghanaian will benefit from, but this same president is putting taxpayers' money into the building of a cathedral. When we see that the president is not constructing the roads in our constituencies or giving us drinking water, or our lights are going off erratically without a schedule, yet you see this same president going to take our taxpayers' money to build an awards house for politicians to get awards. Why do we need a Ghana Awards house?
So
those are the problems that would annoy the Ghanaian people because the government has its priorities wrong.
Okay, priorities are wrong. Now, the hashtag Fix the Country. The hashtag Fix the Country is actually trending at number 2. You had, Dr. AMOAH, you had quite a bit of time to express your thoughts. But let me just make mention that, so the point is that at least trending right now at number 2 is Fix the Country, Ghana. And it's been trending for quite a while now, just about a week. So you can see that definitely this is something that still has a bit of drive. But very quickly, how are you fixing your constituency?
Okay, first and
very quickly on that, we have to move.
I mean, first and foremost, it's important that we lay out what the parameters are. In my second term, one of the first things I've done, which is a continuation from my first term, is human capital development, because that is actually what your focus must be as a member of parliament. This year alone, we've continued with our MP's scholarship program. And so just in the past few months, when schools reopened, when the universities reopened, we've paid fees for over 40 students to go back, 40 new students. You know, in the first term, we've done about 167 of the students already. I've done 18 town hall meetings where I'm accounting to my people, because for me, I believe that accountability is key as a member of parliament. Like Sticker mentioned, there's been no releases from government, so you've not even gotten your first quarter of the common fund for you to say you are doing anything. However, we've had interventions in schools already, schools that were affected by a rainstorm. We've tried to fix them. Healthcare issues, paying for surgeries, meeting out with young people. Then I have my livelihood empowerment program. Now, what we've done is we rolled out the National Apprenticeship Program in the NDC's manifesto. That program was a program that the government of John Mahama would have rolled out this year. So what we're doing is, with the garment makers and the hairdressers associations, we're training 700 young people in hairdressing and garment making, because I'm not just focusing on regular education, or what you call mainstream education. We're also looking at vocational skills training. So 350 people in hairdressing, 350 people in tailoring. Everybody gets a sewing machine to start with and train with. Everybody gets a hairdryer to start with and train with. And that's rolled out. On the issue of security, we have a program that's about to be rolled out, 1,500 street lights across the constituency to improve visibility at night, because when the area is dark, that's when you have a lot more. And then I've worked with the Minister for Roads in this short period to get some movement on the major problem that affects the people of Ningo Prampram, the road for the traffic from Tema all the way to Dawenya. So you realize that just last week, the Minister for Roads himself was there. That contract had been signed in 2019. We're going to see actualization. Again, the Afenya-Dawenya Road, just in the past week, the Minister has asked the contractor who was on that site to move back to site and has commissioned him. The contractor has given me assurances that by end of this month, the Afenya-Dawenya Road, he'll be back on that road. So these are some of the things that we already work.
So both of you up to quite a lot in there. But very briefly, as we... Go ahead.
I think my brother made a statement which, of course, factually that was true. But I think we need to find out. Inflation as a whole today is far better than the left. They left about 15.4. Now it's hovering around, I think, 10 there, about having checked just this week. So factually, inflation today is better than the left. In spite of, but I want to give to the nation, because people are asking us prices of some of the commodities such as iron rods and coal he spoke about. I've gone to find out. What is happening now is that when ships, because that this factual what he said was true, when the ships get to Ghana, they are docked on the shore for 2 weeks because of the COVID protocols. When they go back to China and other places, between 3 and 6 weeks. So number of ships that come here, or which come here, are not doing so. Things that they charge $4,000 probably per a narrative or item. Now they are charging $10,000, $12,000. So these issues are beyond the government control. I just want to explain this. My brother can go and find, because I went to Tema. I was also worried. I'm into that business, building and doing those things. I went there to find out. So some of these things, Ghanaians are right complaining because they are happening. But they should understand, or we should be able to let them understand that because of the COVID, these are global issues beyond our even leader.
So the point is very firmly made on that angle. Gentlemen, I know both of you believe in accountability, responsibility, probity, unless you want to prove me otherwise. So on that very note, Sam, you were talking about that accountability. I'll pose the question to Dr. AMOAH first. The events of January 7. We've had a lot of people talk about it. Recently, we had the first Deputy Speaker touch on it, and he says that all of what happened, well, we can't really hold parliamentarians to it because they had not been sworn in. You are legislators. You make laws for this country, and it was distasteful. He, in fact, referred to it as shameful conduct, what happened. What sort of example do you think that sets for ordinary Ghanaians, including the youth, very impressionable youth of the country?
Me?
Yes, you first.
Oh, okay. You're still going back to 7 January?
Well, it's because it's been in the news. No, it's only recently that the first Deputy Speaker spoke about it.
But I think on this platform, this same platform here, personally I apologized. That is the role that I played. Because I think no matter what, the alternative was unacceptable.
Okay.
However, people should also see how committed both parties were to ensuring that what they want to come to being for their people, they were. What we did was not right. But look at how, you think he left with Nimo Pram alone, Sam George, who put up that behavior? I'm not saying he did. I think I did worse than him, and be honest. What I did was wrong. Somebody pushed me, and I had to also push back. We were all quite upset, which was wrong. But what I'm saying, I think if it is only Inshiasu alone and myself alone, my interests alone, I'll go and push. No. It is an illustrative or indicative of the fact that modern day parliamentarians are so much committed to ensuring that what they mean for their nation on their part, their principles, what they believe in within the framework of their fraternities, they are committing every energy to it. We are so serious. So people should also take that motivation. However, we had a wrong alternative because there are many alternatives getting to whatever you want to achieve. And what happened to me was very unfortunate.
So just to
we just want to tell people coming that it's not going to happen again.
It's not going to happen again.
Yes, it's not going to happen again. Me personally, I don't think I will engage. But you see other jurisdictions. I'm not trying to justify it. They do even worse.
Okay.
But the fact that they do worse doesn't mean we are right.
Sam,
and to me, what I'm saying is
you make laws, and what happened that day? I mean, if an ordinary citizen were to do that, it wouldn't be pardoned. What do you think? Should something be happening? Should there be some punitive measures? What do you think?
To us?
Something not punitive in terms of not. And I made mention of this that obviously you wouldn't want to say that because of this we're going to incarcerate anybody. But shouldn't there be some action of the House to say, look, we're doing this to show that we're sorry?
You see, if you want to, let me start off by saying that we all agree that there were better routes to achieving whatever goal any of us had, any of the two sides had on the 9th of the 6th and the 7th, to what played out that day. What played out that day, I've had occasion to sit back and watch several times. And they're not videos I want to show my 5-year-old son of me. So, I mean, I admit that we did cross a certain line and it was most unfortunate. But it lets you see how human MPs are as well and how passionate we can get. But people must understand, and that's the point that I thought the first Deputy Speaker tried to make, you have had very heated issues in Parliament post the 9th of the 6th and 7th, but they haven't gotten there. You know why? Now there's a speaker sitting in the chair. Leadership. It's about leadership. That day, there was no speaker in the chair. It was just the clerk. And MPs don't answer to the clerk. The clerk cannot call any MP to order. Okay, so in every group, in every setting, you need to see some form of leadership. And that's what the speaker brings. I mean, one of the days, I remember, just before the end of the meeting, we had a very heated debate. I mean, we're all up on our feet, and all the speaker did was to rise from his chair and stand, not say a word, just rise. And that is a huge parliamentary action. When the speaker stands and holds the gavel and doesn't speak, immediately, without a word, without any sign, the whole chamber just went dead. That's the power of leadership. That's what leadership can do. And so when you have the right leadership, it would carry us along. But I keep saying to people that, look, don't get carried away and don't get swayed by the optics you see in the plenary. Because the plenary is about 10% of Parliament. The real work of Parliament, the real business of Parliament goes on in the committees. And in those committees, there's hardly any partisanship. There's hardly any NDC or NPP. We put the country in the driving seat and work towards working for the country. So, yeah, I mean, it's regrettable. It's happened. We cannot apologize enough. But you can't unwrite and you can't go back to the 9th of the 6th and the 7th. It's happened and it's happened. Let's move on. And I believe that this Parliament stands on the threshold of achieving great things for our country.
This Parliament stands on the threshold of achieving great things for this country. It's interesting. The 7th Parliament has been given a lot of glowing praise and all of that. Let's see what the 8th Parliament will come through. Maybe not a very good start, but you don't judge a book by its cover.
Maybe the glowing praise is because Sam George is part of the 7th Parliament and part of the 8th Parliament as well.
You've made mention of leadership.
Yes.
And here's one portion where in the fight against illegal mining, we have come to the point where leadership is actively outlining plans, what ought to be done to ensure that our water bodies, our land resources are protected. I'll come to you first. So far, the fight against Galamsey, the military, now the police, 200 of them, some people busted, about 65 of them, some said to be alleged to be national security operatives, about 19 of them. How far do you feel we've come? What are the highlights for you?
Thank you very much. I think in the first place, I would like to commend the president of the land, because everybody knows that one of the areas in our country that you try to fight, you risk losing your seat is Galamsey. We all know. It's been there before I was born, and I'm sure some too. And it's still there. It hasn't been solved. But at least for somebody, a leader, to say that, okay, I have the political will. Even if I'll lose my election, I'll still fight it. We need to. However, Galamsey hasn't stopped. It hasn't. Where it's getting to, I want to say that every stakeholder, every Ghanaian who has any boundary factor, relationship or connection or correlation to this whole antisocial behavior, I'm begging the person, we are just begging them. It is not in the interest of anyone now and tomorrow. All our water bodies are going very bad. The fish we eat, now we're having mercury in them. Our cocoa, very soon, now Chinese, they've started producing cocoa. So we are destroying our own future. And the president can task everyone to go there. If we don't from our heart, out of intrinsic motivational factors, accept the fact that this thing is destroying us. So all of us are doing our best possible, our utmost best, to curb this issue in our country. We are doing ourselves not any good, because it is still a problem. Look at our water bodies. They are still there. The problem is that when a body is set to go into the areas where they are operating, what happens there? Along the banks of Pra, in the bush, the president is not there. What do? Do some of them take bribe or they don't? The fact is, if the president even decides to put in everything, and the teams that are set to go there, and some of them, I'm sure, are the very people that have been tasked to go there and make sure the problem is solved. I'm sure some of them get involved.
Like we're seeing now with some alleged members of national security.
And some get involved. I wouldn't even be surprised if some of our own party people are involved. And this time, let's all be honest, it's destroying us. I think the president is doing well. He has to do better. And this time...
The president is doing well. He has to do
better. Yes. Better means that we need to commit more of our resources into those areas, redefine our operational strategies and other things. Because, boss, it's going on. I'm from Ashanti region. It is going on. And who are doing it? Who are involved? I don't think it's only the national security operatives. Some of them are doing that. I don't think it's only the police. I think you have MPP people in it, NDC people in it. I think you have some DCs who will be involved. I think even some chiefs are involved. So it's like a problem that we need to do our best and solve. This is not about MPP and NDC's problem. Galamsey is still going on. It's destroying us. It is not stopped.
Elder George, and I'm just playing on the word. Are we on course to, rid ourselves of illegal mining as far as is possible?
I wish I could say so. And you see, I get very passionate when I talk about Galamsey issues because I think the president has failed. And this is not politics. This is about leadership. I spoke about leadership. Leadership must act. When it goes well, leadership gets the credit. When it doesn't go well, we must hold leadership accountable. Who are these? Sticker talks about DCs. Who may be?
The political will.
Who may be? Who appointed these DCs?
Honorable, just 1 minute. You allow me. I think if you say the president has failed, I will not debate you. But at least from 92 up to now, we have not had a president who publicly declared that I will put my presidency on that. That will alone, you need to give him praise.
Okay, I'll come to that. Let's be clear in our minds. The fight against Galamsey was not President Akufo-Addo's initiative. It was a media initiative. It was a media campaign that came to Parliament, the 7th Parliament, got signatures, got the then Speaker to sign on. It was that media momentum led by Ken Ashigbe and co. that led us, that compelled government to get involved and set up Galam Stop and Operation Vanguard or whatever that was set up. You understand me? Now, I keep saying that, look, our president has done well with giving us sound bites. The president's fight against Galamsey has been a soundbite one. I put my presidency on the line. Did he put his presidency on the line?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I say it as I say. The DCs who are doing Galamsey or who are supporting and enhancing Galamsey are appointees of the president. Mr. President, if you were serious about fighting Galamsey, you will fire them because the power to fire them rests only in the president's hands. It is their position as DCs that allows them to perpetrate that crime. Mr. President, your party national executives and regional executives are engaged in Galamsey.
Oh, how?
Deal with them.
Do you have any proof?
Yes. Deal with them.
Where is your proof, though? Hold on, Doc. Where is your proof?
I'll give it to you. We saw the video. We saw the leaked video from the Minister of Environment, then Minister of Environment's office, with the then Vice Chairman of the NPP in the Central Region.
But there was denials in that respect.
Denial of what?
You are saying national executive.
Denial of what?
It wasn't the picture that was being painted when it comes to all these excavated.
We don't need anybody's explanation. We listened to the tape. We heard the video.
And
when he said party here, Sika, what was that?
And you can confirm that it was the voices of these individuals.
Eko Owusi has not denied that it is his voice. You understand me? Charles Bisu was a presidential staffer and at the time Western Regional Secretary of the NPP. We saw a tape, Manasseh Azuri Awuni, where Manasseh went to him, offered money to get opportunity to go and do illegal small-scale mining. He accepted it.
So the national executive.
So what are we talking about?
Which one of them is national executive?
We know instances that led to people even sitting MPs even losing their seats, and the roles that national executives play all because of Galamsey. Look, if there is any NDC person involved in Galamsey, it is the more reason why President Akufo-Addo has failed. Because I expect him. So in effect, you are not denying that there could be NDC people involved, or that even in previous administrations there have been NDC people involved. You are merely saying that if they are and he's not getting them, he's failing. Yes, anybody who does Galamsey, whether you are NDC or MPP, you're a murderer. You're a murderer. You're a killer. Because look, my children and your children will not have potable water to drink. Today, you are even getting trouble getting water in your pipes because of Galamsey. So I don't care the person's political party. If the person is NDC, if the person is a national executive of the NDC and he's doing Galamsey, arrest him and jail him. And I believe that for the first time, we should actually have the firing squad come brought back. Because look,
let's check on that.
No, it is still on our statute books. The people who
it still is there, but for decades it's not been used.
Yes, but on this one, because listen, Chief, you haven't flown over the land to see the devastation to our land, to see the devastation to our water bodies. If you have, you would understand the pain with which I speak. Because look, I sit here and I'm asking myself, by 2030, today, we are importing everything. Now 2030 is just 8 years away. We are going to have to start importing water. We will import it in Ghana. because some people think they should be filthy rich.
And the head of the Ghana Water Company Limited has been us.
And that is why I'm saying that the president must act. The buck stops to him. Look, the Chinese who come in here, the Chinese ambassador insulted all of us as a country, and I clap for him for insulting us.
He said, yeah.
I clap for him for insulting us.
He was merely saying that the Chinese don't know where to go.
Absolutely.
We ourselves, the chiefs and others don't know.
The Chinese cannot even enter Ghana without a visa from a Ghanaian official. What due diligence do you do before you grant that visa to that Chinese?
You know. That one.
No.
That one you know.
How do they enter Ghana?
But
except, look, are you aware that Ghana is the country with the second highest population of Chinese on the African continent? Over 700,000 Chinese are residents in Ghana. What are they doing in Ghana? And how did they get into this country? How do the excavators, look, excavators are not small machines.
They are not.
How do people import excavators and come into this country? How is it that national security, look, you know why I get angry and passionate about this? We saw your own studio, your own network, multimedia, Adum, go with a security team into the bush. When you got there, you saw soldiers of the Ghana army with their uniforms. You saw their uniforms there. When you saw their uniforms there, a soldier came there, made a call to a commanding officer who is still serving in the Ghana Armed Forces, who is paid with our taxes.
But you know the commanding officer. You don't know.
No, but that is why I'm saying that the soldier who came, his name is known. The uniforms that they were wearing, their names are known. By now, has the president, who is the commander-in-chief, called the chief of army staff to demand the identity of those soldiers? We saw the soldiers who came on video.
Right.
Thanks to Rusty Donko, even though they tried to destroy the video, you still managed to get some footage of them. What has happened to those soldiers?
So what
has happened to those people?
Definitely.
To protect us. We must see action being taken.
Sam.
But if the Major Muhammad died in vain, and people will continue to die in vain, and we are sitting down because guarantee someone wants to make money, quick money.
So obviously there are a lot of questions to ask, but as Dr. AMOAH has also made mention of, there has been the commitment that has been shown. We're on that trajectory. You say it has failed so far. Let's see what this will generate this time round. But to wrap up the conversation, gentlemen, again, something that a lot of people have been talking about, the Wesley Girls
but I think it is proven that no MPP national executive as of now is actually shown or illustrated that is involved in Ghana.
Thank you for adding that.
Thank you.
It's a very simple issue, but it's also convoluted in many ways. I want to fast. You are not allowed to fast. School rules. MPs, the Muslim caucus in Parliament has waded into the conversation. We've had the Methodist Church react and back up the school. There's been talk about the fact that if you want to fast, then parents should sign up for this, and if anything happens to your child, we wouldn't have a hand in it.
Okay, sure.
How do you feel we address this? Policy? Should the schools do their own thing? Where does it end? Gentlemen, I'll give you a minute and a half each on this one. You see, I'll start with you. Let me start with you. You were speaking. You were on the floor right before, so let me give you the first mic.
I think this is a very serious and very controversial issue. I remember when we were in secondary schools. I was with the SU then, and we were doing periodical fasting. What we were doing was, you ask somebody to take your food for you, you keep it. When you break the fast, you eat. You understand what I'm saying? But we're not doing it officially. Because that time, it was even wrong for you not to go to the Nano Hall and eat.
Right.
That was the school policy. I went to Pukwari. And then I went to Ahmadiyya, sixth form. And Ahmadiyya, even when the Muslims were fasting, you know that's a Muslim school, we were still going to the Nano Hall. You had to come. Maybe because you are fasting, you take your food, you keep it. That one, nobody cares how you go about it. Where this one is heading towards, we shouldn't heap scorn on the potential of this to bring something very serious in this country.
Which is what?
Hey, if Muslims and Christians get into this chaotic situation, my boss, are you sure any government or any leader can manage? No. So I would propose that as a matter of urgency, with all seriousness on the part of the government, the Methodist or the Christian body, the Muslim or Islam body, and then the school, they should set up this committee, stakeholder engagement committee, and quickly look into it and make sure that all parties involved can redefine a point of convergence where they will agree to certain principles. Then we can move forward. We shouldn't say that, oh, it's not our issue. It's between Wesley Girls and then maybe the Muslims, even the Muslims, not all of them, or between the Muslims and the Christians. I beg this country, national security, whoever has what it takes as a jurisdiction, to come on board, and as a matter of, I beg them quickly, they should resolve this.
Okay.
Because I don't want this trend to go
Quite
on.
well made there. There's been talk about this bit too, that in some Islamic schools, sometimes Christians are made to, observe some of the Muslim practices and all that. You say you were in TI Ahmadiyya. Did that ever happen to you?
No, when I was there, it wasn't like that. When I was in there, we had our freedom. It wasn't like that.
Your take on this matter?
It's a matter that really isn't a matter, but it's also a very serious matter. That's how complex it is. Because my understanding of this matter from Wesley Girls, and I've spoken to someone who's very versed with the issues, is that this decision was not just taken today. It's been a long-standing decision of Wesley Girls not to allow students fast, including Christians. Because they said they had an instance where children who were fasting were collapsing in the school. And so the board, some over 10 years ago, took this decision. However, it's become topical today. I think that, again, comes down to leadership. The education ministry, before it issued its directive to the school, should have engaged with the Methodist Church.
Okay.
The lack of consultation with the Methodist Church and that blanket instruction from the education ministry through the GES is what has gotten the Methodist Church to react in this way and say, we are calling your bluff. If everybody had been, because when the Muslim caucus in Parliament met with the Methodist Church, there appeared to have been a certain common ground that was being found. Then the ministry just issues that statement, and that's where the problem is. Look, let's call a spade a spade. We need to cherish the political and religious tolerance that we have in this country. Let's not play with it. I believe that it is an issue that we must all uphold, and I have been consistent on this. If you remember, when the Rastafarian issue happened with Achimota School, on the floor of the House, I contributed to a statement and said, look, allow the students to enjoy their rights, because the reason that the Rastafarians were asking for was not a lifestyle reason, it was a religious reason. You see, people at that time didn't understand it. Today, it's moved to Islam. Tomorrow it will turn to Christianity. Where in an Ahmadiyya school, because you see, in every religion, you've got the fanatics on the extremes. And if we shouldn't allow
that is what we don't want.
That's what we don't want. Yeah. So those of us who are moderate and those of us who are able to accommodate each other must find a way to resolve this impasse very quietly and in the interest of the country.
Gentlemen, first of all, thank you so much for abiding by the rules on the show. By and large, it's been a very smooth discussion. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Elder. I want to sort it out on that level.
Elder.
Oh, church elder. Paris Chapel.
Which church?
Paris Chapel.
Oh, no wonder.
Hey, what do you mean by no wonder?
No, because Sam and I, all the time, I've been thinking, sometimes I say he even gets angry that which church does he go? He doesn't want to tell me.
This your no wonder, Dr. Amma. Anyway, Dr. Stephen, I'm a member of Parliament for Inshaeso, and of course, Sam, George
years.
as well.
I've been a church member of CCC Kumasi from my childhood.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's fine.
Sam George, member of Parliament for Ningo Proper. Gentlemen, thank you so very much for your time.